hope he doesn't get the sickness.
My boy Kurt is a stay-at-home dad, watching Disney movies he never had. His daughter digs through all the VHS, crushing the classics in a princess dress. Informed like Scuttle, Kurt's got your ticket, making it real like Jiminy Cricket. Most are off the Captain Hook, but if the Tweedledum, he'll be taking more shots than Bambi's mom. Leaves him raised like Simba, or cracked like the beach dishes. He'll show you a whole new world, you won't need pre-wishes. Stay-at-home Disney dad.
We start with like a Battlestar Galactica reboot opening sequence. Space cargo ships are being chased by sky pirates. Nathaniel Flint is the pirate, and it's just a little boy reading a book. Okay, his redheaded mom comes into his room and tries to ruin everything like a true ginger. Mom and kid watch the book together now before the kid goes to sleep. Yeah, they watch books because this is the future. The book acts like a TV with moving pictures. So far, I recognize the narrator's voice and the mom's voice. She tucks him in and he keeps watching under the covers now. 12 years later, he's on a futuristic air skateboard or hoverboard. Great animation, great music. I suddenly have really high hopes for this movie. His carefree bad boy attitude gets him pulled over by the robot cops. Mom is a waitress, and she's serving the entire cast of Wind in the Willows. The robot police bring Jim back home to his mom. A customer named Dilbert tries to talk to the police, and they ask if he's the boy's father, and the waitress mom just absolutely laughs in his face and says, no. Wow. Okay, her name is Sarah, and she's kind of a just because the friend zone is a fake concept doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. I love the animation style. I know I'm a broken record, but Hercules would have been in Disney's top 10 movies of all time, and if it had this realistic style of animation. Jim is later eavesdropping on his mom, who's complaining about him to her friend Dilbert. A ship lands, and a captain who looks like the lizard from the 67 Spider-Man cartoon pops out and starts talking nonsense to Jim, and he's hurt, so Jim drags him inside, and the lizard collapses on the floor, and then he points up at Sarah and says, chest. See, Dilbert? Women like men who know what they want. But no, he says chest, but he means the treasure chest. Pirates attack the restaurant and burns down, but they escape. Inside the chest was the virtual map. Jim unlocks it, and Dilbert gets super excited because it's a map to Treasure Planet. Jim is excited because of all the stories he read as a kid. Mom says, those are just stories. Dilbert, however, is all in. The ship is the RL Legacy, and I'm sure that's a nod to something important that someone smarter than I should get. There's a fart joke, I'm bored, we meet some of the crew, the captain is a female human cat thing, and this is a wonderful surprise. I'm a big fan of Catwoman movies. No, not that kind. Now we're talking. She takes the billion-dollar virtual map bowling ball thing to a corner of her futuristic spacecraft and locks it in a wooden closet with an old-timey key. Okay. She casually mentions to Jim that he's going to be working for the cook. Jim doesn't like that. Mr. Silver is the cook, and when Jim sees him, he whispers, cyborg, which I feel is like a rude term in the future, right? Like it's probably no longer PC to call someone a cyborg in the future. He makes Jim some soup, but Jim doesn't eat it quickly enough, and his spoon ends up eating it. Because surprise, his spoon is actually a morph. It's a shapeshifter. I bet this is going to be important later, this character. Dilbert is such a bumbler. I'm not even going to be sad when he returns home a billionaire and Sarah still says no and jumps into the bed with the first guy with a leather jacket and an intergalactic motorbike instead. This movie just looks really good. What year is this? Okay, we have a ship people doing ship things montage, so I'm going to look it up. November 2002, the legendary Loot of 1,000 Worlds inspires an intergalactic treasure hunt when a 15-year-old Jim Hawkins stumbles upon a map to the greatest pirate trove in the universe, and Walt Disney Pictures' thrilling animated space adventure Treasure Planet, based on one of the greatest adventure stories ever told, Robert Louis Stevenson's Treasure Island. This film follows Jim's fantastic journey across a parallel universe as a cabin boy aboard a glittering space galleon. Okay. Back to the movie itself. The captain says South by Southwest, and as a music lover, this means something else to me. This movie is very Atlantis, and I'm not complaining at all because I love it. Atlantis was a great movie, and this is shaping up to be a great movie, and yes, I said shape. Jim makes enemies with his bully crab person on the boat, Mr. Scrope. Now Jim has to swab the deck. And while there is a secret meeting with all the bad guys led by Mr. Silver, who's going to keep Jim so busy that he won't have time to figure out what's really going on. Wait, what is really going on? Okay, montage of the passage of time to a great song that is 100% from the band Goo Goo Dolls. There's no other band this could be. No other band sounds like this. I'm typing, and then suddenly when I look up during the montage, little Jim looks out his window and he sees his father leaving for good. He runs past his crying mom and outside where his dad doesn't even look back. His dad just gets on a flying boat and leaves. Jeez, what the Treasure Planet, like a little warning there. We went from a cyborg adding pepper to soup with his funny robotic hand to Jim's deadbeat dad ruining his life. I mean, in his dad's defense, he may have somehow realized he was in a Disney movie and got out of Dodge before the writers could kill off more parents, but regardless, now Silver and Jim are sharing a moment. Now something has happened and the ship is in trouble. It's being attacked or something. It's a space equivalent of a storm. Everyone puts on rope seatbelts, because this is the future, as asteroids of fire pelt the ship. Jim saves Silver's life. Whatever is in front of them is devolving into a black hole. One of the B characters is hanging from a rope, and that bully crab guy cuts the rope and sends him spiraling to his death. That was Mr. Arrow. He's been kicking around, but I didn't know if he was worth mentioning, and now he's only interesting because he's dead, which is what I hope my family puts on my tombstone one day. Bumbler Dilbert tells the gal captain that he's anatomically ready. Okay. Jim gets blamed for the not tying the rope properly, and that's why Mr. Arrow died thing. Jim is being all dramatic and beating himself up. Mr. Silver gives him a nautical inspirational speech. You gotta figure out the cut of your own sails. Awesome. Mr. Silver is now having a moment because he's not acting like a bad guy and is worried he's got soft. The spoon morph thing gets Jim to chase him, but actually leads him into a secret room next to the other secret room that the bad guys are having their secret bad guy meeting in. And the insect crab thing accuses Mr. Silver for having feelings for the boy. What is happening? Suddenly someone yells, "Land ho!" which is probably also what Mr. Silver yells during sex, which is also what I'm gonna start yelling during sex from now on. Now we move into the next part of the movie where we know Jim knows, but Silver doesn't know Jim knows, and they continue to talk with Silver not suspecting a thing while Jim pretends to, oh, never mind, Jim stabbed Silver in the leg with scissors and the gig is up, I guess. The bad guys and the good guys all fight. Morph ends up with the bowling ball map thing in his mouth, and Jim, Captain Catgirl, and Bumbler Dilbert all escape from the main ship in a Titanic-esque escape boat. Jim has the map, but nope, surprise, the map is actually Morph, who hid the real map back on the ship. Morph, you idiot! Captain Amelia is the cat lady thing, and she has busted ribs, and Dilbert leads her away and says, "Let's have a look at that." Not gonna work, bro. Timing. We finally meet Ben the robot, and I only know about this character because we've played many, many, many games of Disney Bingo. Ben is like the Urkel of this movie. Martin Short voices Ben, and that's wonderful. Ben the robot wants to come with them on this adventure, but first he has to go home and pee. All right, now Ben's house is under attack. Ben is like the original Olaf with his cadence and his delivery. It's very similar. Silver thinks Jim and his crew still have the map, and he meets Jim face to face, and they kind of agree to disagree. Back inside, Captain Amelia Cat is all busted up and crushing on Dilbert, and he does the Star Trek line, "Damn it, Jim, I'm a doctor, not a whatever," and I mean, I'm sure that landed for a lot of the audience, and while I'm enjoying this movie, I'm definitely not the target audience for a spaceship battle anything. Not a Star Wars fan, not a Star Trek fan, nothing personal, just not on my radar growing up, never grew up with it. Jim gets a plan to sneak back onto the ship and steal the real map, but he's trying to get Ben to help, and I feel like we're about to get a classic, "Oh, Spade, why did you leave Farley in charge of the bees" moment, and sure enough, in no time, the murderous bug man sees them and he chases them on the ship. Top notch animation of this chase scene. Man, this is tense. This is a wonderful movie. Jim and Bugman fight outside, and they pay homage to that scene in Titanic near the end where that guy falls from the slanted ship and he hits the propeller on the way down. It sends him spiraling into the ocean. Here with no gravity, Jim flies up instead of down. He hits something and spirals into the sky. Anyway, Bug Guy tries to kill Jim, and Jim kills the Bug Guy. Jim returns with the map, but Silver and his men have kidnapped Amelia the cat and Bumbler Dilbert. Silver can't open the map, so he tells Jim to do it, and for some reason, Jim does. But then Jim says, "Hey, if you're taking the map, you're taking me too." And Silver says, "All right, we'll just take you all," and he takes all three of them hostage. So kind of think that backfired on you there, Jim. Then Jim finds a map-sized hole in the ground, and he puts the bowling ball map in it, and a triangle door appears, and it leads to other places. It's like a portal, and you can change the destination like you can changing TV channels on a remote control. One destination will have the treasure. One has the loot of 1,000 worlds. That's a lot of loot. Someone says, "We're going to need a bigger boat." So just to get you caught up, if you loved Star Trek, Titanic, and Jaws, You are the target audience for this movie. Inside the treasure trove, Jim finds the missing part of Ben's head. He reattaches it to Ben, and Ben gets all his memories back, and the first memory he has is he remembers that the person who owned all this treasure didn't want anyone else to have it, and he rigged it to explode if anyone else found it, and someone else did find it. They did, so now it's going to explode. Animation is incredible as the gold kind of slides into a pit of nothing, and Silver can't save any of it. Back atop, the bumbler figures it out and escapes and becomes a bad like Dilbert. He pulls a gun on his captors. Now it's come down to a sword fight between Silver and Jim, because of course it is, but the shaking ship tosses them both off, and as they struggle to grab onto something, Silver is once again sympathetic, and he lets the ship go to be destroyed in order to save his buddy Jim Hawkins. He does this, and they both watch the treasure ship explode. Captain Amelia gets all remaining characters aboard the other ship, and they're trying to get away from the exploding planet, but Jim wants to turn the ship around and roll the dice going through a random portal, but they're nowhere near it. Jim takes his illegal sky surfboard and just gets to the portal within seconds of everything exploding, and the ship is saved. That was intense. That was really well done. Rare heart beating in a Disney movie. The spaceship stuff sets this movie off. It set the movie off on the wrong foot for me, just because that's not my jam, but this is really a good movie. Ben hugs Jim, and Jim hugs Ben, and I'm kind of annoyed by the Ben character, I'll be honest. Not sure what his role in this movie actually is. Silver is low-key telling Jim to let him go so he can avoid prison time, and Jim lets him go onto an escape boat. Silver tells him to come with him, but Jim quotes Silver's nautical talk from earlier in the movie. They hug and cry, and Silver tells Morph to stay with Jim, then he tosses Jim a coin to give to his mother. What's with every character in this movie wanting to give something to Jim's mother? They return home, heroes, and Sarah opens a new restaurant with the value of that one coin. And I never understand that in movies, not just Disney movies. When a character loses something and then comes into a fortune, they basically just get back what they lost. Like, why didn't Sarah take that money and go to law school or something? Jim becomes a captain, and everyone is happy, and Goo Goo Dolls sings us to credits.
That's what I think about.
What do you think?
What we have is a concern about Curtis Anderson. His interviewing style is not the best. His personal appearance is not the best. I was wondering if the man has some kind of a hold over the channel that he's allowed to be employed for so long with the standards of journalism and personal appearance